What's up everyone, Ben with the BTC Sessions here, and this is your daily session.
Hodl that Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, just a couple quick things. Of course, big shout out to my sponsors, Ledn.io. This is where you can use your Bitcoin for a couple different services, one of which is to get a Canadian or US dollar loan. Pretty simple. There's a quick application process, takes 2 minutes. If you're approved, then your bank account is usually funded within 24 hours. They also have a deal where if you sign up for a loan using the link that I've added below, you can get $50 of Bitcoin added back into your account, additional to the loan that you get. So be sure to check that out. They also have a savings account where you can actually earn interest on your Bitcoin in Bitcoin, not in dollars, in Bitcoin. So if you're interested in either of those things, check out the links down below. Secondly, I've been on a huge privacy kick lately. It is very important if you're dealing with Bitcoin in really any aspect, but there's also some other benefits to this as well. It helps encrypt your browsing data. It also helps unlock any geo-locked content. So if you can't access something from another country, then you can just set your country as you like and access that right away. Super cheap. If you use the link down below, you can get 75% off of a 3-year plan. It ends up adding up to about $3 a month, which is pretty damn good. And I use it myself, not only on my computer, but also on my phone. So be sure to check that out. And with that, let's dive into the news. And so where is Bitcoin price at right now? We're sitting at around 11.9. It has been a wild ride this week. Of course, I've been in San Francisco for the Bitcoin 2019 conference. So while that price craziness has been happening, I've been away and I've only been able to do kind of recaps on my days and not a lot of price talk, but it's been pretty wild. Right now I'm in a co-working space, but I am back in Calgary, and so I apologize for the echoey sound for today's video, but it should be back to normal next week. But yeah, it's been fluctuating like crazy. We bounced back, so we went up to the high 13,000s. It dropped all the way down to like 10K and has since bounced back to getting relatively close to 12K. So really all over the map. That's like a $4,000 range this week that we've seen. So what are we looking at next? Where can we expect to see it go? So a couple interesting things. Since that peak around almost $14,000, there was a falling wedge, which we have now broken out of, which is typically a very bullish sign. With some of the sideways price action, we've also seen reduced volumes, which is typically also a bullish sign because it shows that even with reduced price, not many people are willing to sell at these levels. So some areas of support, let me just find it here. Some areas of support to keep an eye out for, and we're well above them right now, are around the 10.3 and the 10.9 range. But if we were to break down below that, well, then we could see, 8,400, 7,900, 7. These are all areas of resistance, a key support rather. Do I think that we'll be diving down there? I mean, anything's possible. It has been an insane month, let alone an insane year. And yeah, anything is really possible here, but I don't see it happening right away. I could be totally wrong. Some people are speculating that we'll see a new all-time high before the end of the year. Again, I'm very hesitant to make those kinds of calls. I wasn't expecting to see a new all-time high until well after the halving, like perhaps like 6 months to a year afterwards. We are much closer than I thought we would be at this point, this early. And I don't know whether to worry or be happy about that. But either way, it's gonna be an adventure. Not only that, but we've also seen Bitcoin dominance headed up. Now, Bitcoin dominance is a measure of, in the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem, how much of the capital in it is allocated just to Bitcoin. And we've been over 60% for a while now. In fact, coin market cap, I just want to double check here, but Bitcoin dominance currently is sitting at 62.6%. Now, dominance is a bit of a broken metric. How do I mean? Well, essentially, if I were to create a cryptocurrency and I said there's 1 billion coins and I sold one coin to a guy for $1, you take the price of the coin times the number of them, and there's your market cap. So if I sold one for $1 successfully, technically, because there's a billion of them, I have $1 billion market cap on my coin. Now, of course, if I tried to actually liquidate a large amount of those coins, nobody would pay $1 consistently for them. So the metrics just kind of bunk in the first place. That said, dominance being this high, given that anybody can make a coin and kind of game those metrics, is still pretty damn impressive in my opinion. But the reason we see the numbers moving in that direction, let's take a look at what Bitcoin has done the last little bit. So this column here is what the price has done in dollars in the past 24 hours. So Bitcoin's up about 10, almost 11%, because around this time we're bottoming out at the drop down into the 10K range. So we've come back quite a bit from that. Obviously, in terms of Bitcoin, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. But take a look, a lot of the alts also are seeing a ton of green. In fact, it's pretty much green across the board here. But look at alts when it comes to Bitcoin. Have they gained against Bitcoin or lost? And more or less, it's a sea of red. And this has been an odd trend that we've seen through most of the year. In 2017, Bitcoin would pump, and then you would have alt season, and you'd have these spectacular runs of alts where they would just moon like crazy. But this year, largely, we have not seen that, and this has been a consistent trend. In fact, look over here on the right-hand side, I pulled up two other metrics versus Bitcoin, the 7-day and the 90-day. So in the past 7 days, a lot of these coins are down double digits, and we're talking like almost 30% versus Bitcoin. There are a few outliers that are up, but more or less it's a bloodbath. Secondly, take a look at the 90-day. So 3 months back, some of these coins are down 50%, 65%, and it doesn't get better when you look at a year and further. So you're getting into instances where people have taken Bitcoin, bought alts with their Bitcoin, and have experienced what they perceive as a certain percentage loss in dollars, but they don't realize they've also lost massive amounts of their Bitcoin, which for me, that's what I like to track. How much Bitcoin do I have? And so a lot of people have been gambling and trying to get more Bitcoin with alts, but if you look at the performance in general over the long term, it's been pretty dismal, and this should be pretty eye-opening. Now, will we see this trend continue? I don't know. I get the feeling that we will still see those crazy pump and dumps over time, but I don't like to be in the business of gambling like this, and so I largely try to stay out of that. And it's just really not for me. But yeah, let's move on. So Goldman Sachs looks at the potential of creating a virtual currency. Now, what would this virtual currency be? Surprise, surprise, it's another stable coin, because we just need more of them. There's not enough. So yeah, again, there's nothing exciting here. Everybody wants to create their own stablecoin. You had Facebook with their basket of currencies that would create the Libra. You had JP Morgan coin, and of course you've got the other ones. You've got the one from Circle. You've got all kinds of. You've got Tether, of course, that's been around forever. So there's no shortage of ones like the Gemini dollar, and they're just all out there. And why do people want to create these stable coins? In my head, it's because, well, maybe then we can dive into even more fractional reserve. I'm not necessarily saying that's for sure what the motivation is, but he who controls the money has all the power, right? So of course these guys are going to want to print their own money. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. This is just really nothing news. Everybody is trying to do this. It's going to be the in thing for the next little bit. This is something I mentioned the other day when I did my recap of day 2 of Bitcoin 2019, and it's Edward Snowden. He spoke at the conference, really cool talk. It was very privacy centric, obviously, given who he is. But yeah, his big bomb at the end of his speech was that he used Bitcoin to pay for the servers used in the NSA leak. So when he leaked the information that the NSA was essentially spying on the entire American public with no oversight, well, he had to pay for those servers with Bitcoin. And I just thought that was a really cool little tidbit, a fun little takeaway from the conference, that he had to use censorship resistant money in order to execute that transaction. So really cool. Just a couple other little things here. I was really happy to see this. I got to meet Pierre Rochard while I was at the Bitcoin 2019 conference, but he was just on the news today talking about Bitcoin and the volatility and the crazy price movements and the crash from the other day down to 10K. And so, yeah, there's a few tweets that he put out, clips from Cheddar, which is essentially like a market show, but really, really nice and concise. And finally, they got a friggin' expert on the TV to talk about this stuff, because that happening, it's few and far between when you get to see somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to Bitcoin on a network television show like this. So kudos to Pierre. I will link to this thread. There's 3 tweets with a couple minute videos in each. So check those out. And secondly, Craig Wright is in court today, and 22nd Century Crypto on Twitter, at that crypto guy with 3 Ys. Anyways, he is there and he's watching the proceedings and he's documenting them as best he can and just kind of tweeting out whatever he sees. He had a couple of videos even of Craig walking into the courthouse. You can see him getting out here. Also note the parking job. They are for surezies in a handicap spot, but you know, he struts in. It doesn't really say much and just goes ahead. But the one tweet that I found interesting was this one. Quick update, open session now. Craig is on the stand talking about Silk Road and Hydra and crying. Yes, he's crying. And some of these videos, these recaps where the guy's talking about it, he was crying, saying that he's ashamed of creating Bitcoin and all of the terrible things that it enables, and that he's trying to fix it. Like, oh God, it's such a cringe fest. But if you're looking for some entertainment today on Twitter, be sure to go over and check out that crypto guy, 22nd Century Crypto. He's tweeting about it all day. And with that, guys, I'm gonna wrap up. Again, sorry for the echoey room today. I will be getting back into my regular room this week. And if you want to help out the show, a few things you can do. Check out Ledn and check out NordVPN. Links for those are both down below. Of course, if you're new here, hit subscribe, smash the like button, and hit the bell notification icon, because I'm always in the chat chatting people up when this airs for the first time. And if you really liked what you saw, you can drop me a Bitcoin tip via the Lightning Network at my tippin.me page. And with that, I am out, you guys. I will see you tomorrow for your daily session.